Right, we have a different kind of menu, you know. So it's hard to tell. Let's see. It's recording, streaming, it's broadcasting. I just can't see it. I wonder what the key. Um, hmm. Why is this? Doesn't look like the right one. Hang on, everyone. I think you can see me, but I'm just trying to get mine set up. It should look better, right, than it did last time. We're still going through a few things, so hang tight. Let me make sure I have exactly what I need. Okay, so you guys should be good. Um, so I'll wait and see. I'll wait and make sure people can see me and that we're connected, because there's a whole new setup here in terms of how I'm connecting. Um, so let's see. Once I know for sure, maybe check and see the stream. Oh, look, I do have someone here. Okay, who's at least showing? Got a couple of viewers, but one who's putting down. Michael, good to see you. Okay, so this is totally new. It's going to take a couple minutes before I'm confident to go, right? It's kind of why I chose. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Um, my my youngest son Luke, he's really good with this stuff, and he really helped out where I was in need here because, like I said, it's kind of new, but it should be better. It should allow us to, hopefully do more and give me a better kind of I guess, view of everything. I can see you guys a lot better. Before, remember how before I kind of was like, it's really small, right? That's because I didn't have the best monitors or set up where I could actually see the screen effectively all the time. So it looked good on the screen, but I couldn't always see it because the the distance and the monitors were not in the right spot or the right kind. So I think at this point I do have what I need. And there might be a few things we'll have to adjust, but that's okay. Um I expect it to be a much better stream overall. So I wanted to do this particular live, right? Fat farming, right? Pig bombs and curses, right? And we'll talk about different things. And of course, you know, we're serious people. We try to be, I think, if you're like me, if we study. Well, we're just normal people, as I've often said, and as is the case. I don't make any special claims. I don't know anyone who does who's able to usually live up to them, right? But people who just try to be themselves are usually more normal, even though maybe not everything I do is liked or that they do what I like. I've kind of learned to just accept that and go with it in a way that, as long as I'm not doing something illegal or violating something explicitly in the shared authority, in our case as Christians, the Bible. It's a little bit broader than that, but for most of us, right? So really truth ultimately, but we look to the Bible as the source of what we consider the best available reasons for believing in the God Jah and understanding things that were done and foretold with respect to this Messiah, right? Jesus Christ. So in any case, we accept those things and hopefully who we are because, if you're in any way like me, a believer in the Bible, then a Christian, even a Jew who doesn't believe in Jesus, right? You understand the system of sacrifice and giving back to God in ways that account for our mistakes, the things we do, right? Things we do that aren't always good, and which is often the case, right? His tolerance is incredible. But we believe it's the case. We believe that he tolerates us the way we tolerate our children, the way we tolerate others, or try to. And that's why it's so important to follow the golden rule. That's not always so simple, especially when you're dealing with complicated people, right? People who don't follow the same rule or who act in ways that are unusual, right? So with Sam, right? We featured Sam today because, of course, he chose to target me and he wanted to I'll promote his false doctrine at my expense, like he often does. But either way, Sam, he thinks I hate him, but he knows I don't. And yet he understands exactly why I do what I do. Because Sam is not a good person, right? None of us are good. We say that here. I promote that here because I know that here is the truth that we share from the source I just mentioned, the Bible, right? Again, I have a whole series started. We're doing part 3 Sunday. I'm going to do a live tomorrow, and I'm going to do an upload on Ignatius, early Christian views of Jesus. Now, he's going to also figure into, I don't want to give it away. Okay, so this is about Sam, right? Fat farming, pig bombs, right? But it's not meant to be crude, right? We're talking about you know who. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you shouldn't be watching this video, right? Sam is the number one crude person, and yet he pretends to be the most Christian person. And he will call you out. He will attack you, attack all of it. In fact, I am convinced most people underestimate Sam. They really do. They don't understand, right? They don't. Most people do not understand that Sam is gone, right? By gone, I mean you don't understand how far he's willing to go, okay? Still kind of getting used to the setup here and all that. You don't understand the degree, right? I know you don't. Most of you don't. Maybe a few, right? The depth of Sam, right? Understand, that's not a good place. You don't want to be there. Now, when he was a young, bad child, right? We had to punish him, right? He deserved to be punished. And he holds it against everybody, right? He really does. You don't understand. Now, so with me, when knowing Sam the way I do, this goes all the way back, okay? So this is my old friend Blubber Butt, right? Oh boy, that right there, that description, okay? I want you to be careful with that. If you use that description and you're not someone like me, and he'll come after you. You say, well, yeah, he'll come after you, Greg. Well, no, not really, because he knows I'm coming after him, right? Sam comes to me, I'm right there, right? I'm actually waiting for him all the time. He knows this because he has to be punished, right? People don't understand. They don't. Look at them all. He started with the Protestants. This goes all the way back, right? Now we've moved ahead from the blubber butt, although he came back in an adult manner, right? Adult diaper and all that stuff. And David Wood, we'll get to it. But not really a lot, because I don't, it's about Sam, right? Who unleashed Sam, right? In real terms here, right? Who do we point to and say, hey, what happened here, right? What prompted you to unleash this upon us? Now, a lot of you may think, and you've heard me say, and others have said, and you've seen, right, Dr. White, and there are people like that, right? There are others, okay? And of course, you have William. We'll talk about him more tomorrow, and Sam. Well, I'm going to bring them together, right? Look what happened. Unbelievable, right? Isn't that unbelievable? Well, not really, because who is it that predicted this several years ago, right? When they were all together. Do you remember the Horde, right? The original Horde, right? It was unbelievable. We came on and we were this small channel, right? We was trying to come in and, teach the truth about God and help people, right? And Fat Sam came in and he started going insane, right? Can't handle it. Just like today. Can't handle it. No. We're going to help Sam and his, and my, Sam, they're his daughters in a way, but not really, right? He just wants to use them for labor. He said that, right? So we don't need to go over it. But we're going to help Sam. And I'm not sweating. These guys are perverts. We know this, okay? So we're getting this out of our system, right? We might talk about some important things, probably, right? Whatever you want, but we're going to throw in, we're not going to forget the theme tonight, right? This is about Sam and how fat he is, okay? I mean, it's out of control. He's spherical now, as I told someone recently, preparing to take his place among the stars and planets above, like a big fat moon of fake cheese, right? Or cow dung, horse manure. He's fat, right? There's no changing that. Right? You can say whatever you want, Sam. Yeah, he had like a flash, right? He did. He had a small moment. Something happens to him. I don't know what it is, but every like 120 days, Sam, he's cyclical and spherical and fat, right? But he goes through these cycles of blubber, and he'll reach a point where it's so out of control, right? Beyond anything you can imagine. But it's right there, right? So you're like, is this really happening, right? And you start questioning reality. Either way, we get Sam, right? He has a moment where he gets thin somehow. Someone needs to find out what's going on. And then there's this woman, right? Here's this woman he's been abusing. Not his old, no, a new woman that's behind. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I know that he's crazy, right? I told everybody, I said, listen, whatever, right? We had all of them, right? I'll name them. We had all of them, everybody, okay? The Protestants went insane. They started with, they promoted him. There was Dr. White, but he's not. Oh, no. Sam goes way back. I told you guys, right? No, Sam goes way back. He's the original serpent, right? One called slanderer and pervert and fatso, right? Blubber, but all these things are true. You tell me they're not. And I'll tell you they are because they are. And I'll show him to you, right? I answer all the questions right there, right? We don't need to even spend more than 5 seconds to prove everything I just said. And I'll show you in a minute. Pick any moment of Sam. He can barely handle himself every day. No, I do try to help him, right? I try to help him by reminding him how bad he is and what a bad person, right? But also when he's abusing his kids. We also know Sam has plans, right, to enslave his daughters and keep them from finding like a normal person, right? No, he wants to make sure they believe in his fake God and collapse and wheel him around, right? Dude. So we have all these things we know. Now, I'm not being mean, okay? A lot of people, they hear it and they think, well, boy, you're being kind of mean. Well, no, not really. Have you listened to Sam? Okay, so everything I'm saying is true, right? So what do you mean? You want me to lie and say good things about a bad person? I do try to do that, right? I try to be funny. I try to be a normal person and just deal with life and be relatable in ways that, even though we do talk about worshiping God, we're free, right? We're Christians in a way that we don't feel we have to be perfect so that we have to beat ourselves over the head with every single thing we think, do, or say that we may not be perfect. That's the trap these people are in, right? It's the trap a lot of Watchtower people are in, unfortunately. Right? But I'm not here to feel bad for them. Do they feel bad for you? Right? We won't get off on to Watchtower because we're here for Sam, right? Fatso. But that's not good dealing with Watchtower people, right? Yeah, we worship the same God. They don't care. So at least Sam cares. At least Sam's interested because he knows we're a threat, right? He knows it doesn't matter how many or few. We only need 2. That's what the master said, and Sam knows, right? You guys don't understand Sam fully yet. I told you. Most of you don't understand Sam. Anyway, he's fat, okay? If that helps. But you can figure that out pretty fast. So we don't, yeah, maybe he is, or maybe some things are, but he accuses me of all kinds of things. He accuses me of being a Baal worshiper, right? Cutting myself. Sam does despicable things. And as I said a minute ago, you don't understand. I think most people do underestimate him because, well, he's fat, right? He's fat, and they see that and they think, well, he's not disciplined. Yeah, that's true. But when it comes to the fake God and his like insecurities about all the things he said and done and his fake moments of worship and piety, right? The lying, right? Sam cannot handle not believing the lie. You understand? Think about this, right? I want you to think about, okay, so think the devil, right? Do you think the devil like goes around thinking about the truth all the time? No, he's the devil. He's always thinking about lying. He questions everything in a way that won't even allow him to become discomforted unless he's forced to by people like me, right? Others, right? But he tries to marginalize us. He always has. They say, well, where have you been? Well, you want to know? Okay. You might want to watch my Ignatius of Antioch video, which will be uploaded tomorrow morning. Early Christian views of Jesus with a little bit of historical stuff, and Sunday, Canon Part 3. Oh boy, right? All these things, they're coming to light. Now, I mean, a lot of you Protestants are having to deal with a lot of the pagans, the Greek pagans, the ortho-pagans, I understand, right? I don't know. Well, you guys all accepted Sam. Every one of you. Except me. Okay? I have been punishing him, right? Every chance I get. And so I'm going to say at the end, like I've said before, hey, he's a pig. I made it clear this guy's gone. I tried to tell everyone. They kept listening to him. And I was like, hey, whatever. Because remember, everyone, the thing with Sam and why I don't feel like I have to always address him, because I've already done enough. I'm going to create a playlist. It'll be up tomorrow with all his stuff. It's all there. Just type fatso. No, I'm kidding. Shamoun or whatever. It's easy to find. He doesn't respond. Never. He did one response to a 10-minute video of Michael and Satan and the angel of the Lord. And then that was it. And he didn't even address everything and he got it all wrong. Right? And then from thereafter, he did multiple parts of multiple hours and he just labels it. Responds to stuff. That's all he does. And you guys know it now, don't you? You all know this is true. You just didn't want to admit it about me, right? No, now you all see when he's doing it to you Protestants, to you Catholics, William, to you Greek ortho-pagans, J. Dyer, right? Eventually he's going to turn on you no matter what. You all should have seen that from the very first, but I believe you all did see it. You didn't care, just like God Logic doesn't care. Does it look like he cares? No, he goes and celebrates on Fat Sam's channel. And what does Sam do? He hits him up for $1,700 a month. Right? Guy's gone. It's completely gone. Right? So you're not dealing with a rational person. Right? He's gone. Yes, he has a few qualities, and I try to be likable towards him in ways where I'm not here to just endlessly pound on anyone. But if I was, Sam was the one, right? That's why I give him a lot of attention. He's the one who has taught all these other idiots. All of them. God Logic, Fearless Fag, I'll be out in the fag machine, right? All these dorks. These are all low-level Sam people. He's way and it's so weird because one thing I'm still unsure about, although I have my suspicion, Sam, like he was talking to God Logic recently, like I said, and God Logic's kind of talking to him, right? Because he's talking a lot about Watchtower people, JWs and stuff. So he asks him a question, and Sam brings up the same stupid thing he keeps bringing up about Jesus being Michael the Archangel before man, becoming a man, and then being resurrected as a spirit. He still misrepresents that. He even told God Logic just the other day exactly the same things I totally destroyed, right? Not just when I showed up on his show and destroyed him and his fat moped twin live before he cut me off. Look at how these dorks are acting with all these lames getting cut off or banned from these channels. Not one of these fags said anything about this pig-faced fatso cutting me off after bad-mouthing me and lying about me and me showing up on his fat channel, him calling in a fat pig reinforcement, not answering any of my questions, me answering all this, him insulting me 5 times in 8 minutes after the 2 minutes that were normal before Big Fatty. Yeah, that happened to me. Did any of these lames who are out there crying and pretending that they were wronged, did they have? No, they helped that pig lie and cut me off. That's exactly what Fatso just did the other day in the comments, like I showed in my community section. He's done this many times. He did this even before all of this. I put that with all the other videos before. We've been doing this a long time with Sam, not just on YouTube. This goes back to the way back, right? Like I told you guys, Sam, even though he's a pig-faced fatso and a blimp, he's also extremely insecure, and he's able to become a problem, okay? He can argue real well when he knows enough to misuse with you and abuse you. It will always devolve to something like that because that's what he wants to do. Right? He's not doing this to enlighten anybody. So I don't feel the need all the time to say the same things about Fatso or any of these pigs and liars. They keep repeating the same things we've already destroyed. I mean, hours of destruction, right? Labels, you can't miss it, right? They're just not trying. They don't care, so why should I care? I care about you guys. I don't want people who are sincere, and I don't always know who that is, to be misled or deceived by these pigs. I know it's not always easy. Like me, I've heard it so many times. I know when they're saying the same thing over and over again. I've already refuted it. But you guys are maybe not in the same level of repetition, right? So you're still worrying about things. Well, you got to think through it, okay? I don't believe the God of the Bible or the Messiah are as complicated as these people make it. If you do, it's up to you. You get to choose. We're very much about that here. Christian Witnesses of Jah isn't a religion that you have to belong to, in our view, to be saved, right? You have to be a Christian to be saved, which means believe and confess Jesus as the Messiah, acknowledge your sins before him, and give thanks to the Father in his name. So if you do that, then you accept his sacrifice that the Father sent forth on our behalf and according to our view, as foretold by Jewish texts prior to his birth in the 1st century. So unique in ways that I'm going to talk more about and I've already talked about. But they convince us that these things are true. So we believe we can have a relationship with God by believing in Jesus and trusting in the best available reasons for what he taught, what he did, which are uniquely corroborated not just by a variety of manuscripts and texts and a variety of languages for a long period of time, including early times, that are superior to other histories of the same time or before, in most cases, except for maybe some, stone or other type of archaeological evidence support for certain civilizations, writing and other things. But ultimately, in terms of writing, documented history, the Bible is unique, and it spans a long period of time in ways that are predictive, like I said, in a numerous number of ways that either someone made up ingeniously during a very difficult time, under harsh circumstances, that wouldn't have been any benefit to you unless you really believed them. Could still be wrong, but at least they believed they were true. So they have enough incentive. They don't seem like they were like Sam, right? We're talking about people who are willing to give their life and preserve teachings and a story, a history, in their view and in our view, about what happened, so that we can have confidence in what we're supposed to do. We get a lot of people, they say, well, they're appointed. They're the ones who keep these things. Well, we'll talk about that, like I said, tomorrow and the next day. Not so much tonight unless you want to. talking about Sam, right? But, we deal with Sam because Sam is not to be underestimated. You can do it if you want. That's up to you. Okay, is Sam making videos about you personally? If the answer to that is no, you're not anywhere in the realm of conversation because you won't understand the implication and you're not personally involved, okay? So I named Sammy. This not involve you. And with Sam and me, we go way back in ways where this is not your average normal situation. Okay, so you shouldn't be really talking at all. It's a sign of immaturity, bad behavior. We don't tolerate it here. We understand people have their views. But again, if all you do is try to find people who are like you, good luck. What we try to do is focus on what's happening, right? Who are we dealing with now and what's the topic? Okay, so if we're dealing with Sam, that is not a normal topic. Okay, Sam is a significant figure for the pagans, and he doesn't stop. Okay, this is where a lot of you, I think, underestimate him. I don't. I accept him for what he is. Good and bad. If you don't do that, well, you're just going to go through a series of bad experiences, like the Protestants did. Isn't it funny, though, how they initially brought him in? David Wood protected him. David! I do think David and Apostate Prophet are fun to watch. Sam, you are a bastard. You are a rat bastard. Anyway, David knows sodomy, though, right? So we have to factor that in. Either way, it was pre-conversion, he says, so we give him credit there. But it took him forever to turn on. We all know this, okay? And David puts Sam in front of kids, right? So, I mean, there's a problem there. There's a lack of vision. It wasn't, 2 years ago that these guys invited him to an SBL function? So knock it off, right? All these people, even Jay Dyer. I like listening to Jay Dyer. He's kind of fun to listen to. And he's smarter than I think a lot of you may believe. A lot of you Protestants. I think you'll have a harder time with Jay Dyer than you think. The ones that I'm thinking of anyway. Sam would have a better time because Sam's really good with the Bible. But I think a lot of you Protestants are going to have a hard time with, unless you really brush up, right? You might want to look at a little bit ahead. Look at Maximus the Confessor, right? Look at how he wrote about Gregory Nazianzus, right? So there's a lot you still need to look at to understand these pagans in a way that's going to help you appreciate how far gone they are, okay? I don't think a lot of you even understand Origen and how they really rely a lot on him, or a reformed version, right? Because they condemned him, right? So much happening with these people and their abuse of authority. And a lot of this, what I just said about these people and their over-veneration out of just fathers, right? Athanasius. Some of these people they consider almost inspired, right? Mary, right? This is out of control stuff. And you guys, you Protestants have been kind of bonding with these pagans in ways because of these councils, creeds, all this paganism. That's why I say, everybody, I don't know if I wouldn't do, you do what you want, right? We don't have rules here where you have to like do what I say. We believe in 3 things, right? As I've often said, and hopefully you know by now, one God the Father, right? Not multiple persons, one person. We talk about it all the time, no Trinity, right? We believe in the Son, Spirit born from Spirit, just like the Son says in John 3. And that God makes other spirits. He makes them in and through the Son, but he directly gave birth to the Son. What's born from Spirit is Spirit. It's not the same age as the Spirit is born from. That's just a lie, an invention that Trinitarian pagans make about how old you would have to be if you're born from someone, right? They're insane, okay? And they have a whole whacked out view of time that we're going to talk about this Sunday. So don't miss it. We're going to get into the powers, the energy of God. You'll see. We'll get more into these ortho-pagans, right? I'll talk a little bit more about some of the Protestant issues with the ortho-pagans. Then there's the Catholics, of course. It all to me, okay. So for me, Sam is pulling from all of these, by the way, and he's teaching these other guys like God Logic kind of how to do it, even if they don't know that's what they're doing. He's confusing them. Jay Dyer kind of sees that. They see the problem, of course, because they're sensitive to their own specific view of these things. Stands out more, but they try to tolerate it because of the shared paganism, like I said, right? The uncreatedness in a way that they can accept, and the shared nature without division. That's really the key, right? So as I see it and everything, we can get into the details, and we do, and we will more, especially Sunday and tomorrow. But the fundamental connections, okay, that all of them share is that there is one nature shared by three persons, okay? So without division. So that's a fundamental sharing in terms of the person and the nature. Doesn't, in terms of how the orthopagans and their view of the energies and the powers, and it's the difference in how Protestants and Catholics would see that. That doesn't change fundamentally that there's no division of the essence, that they all allegedly share, and that they're all persons. Okay, with the orthopagans, well, there any of them who claim or teach or who have taught and still do, without repenting, creation ex nihilo, right? Anything beyond or outside of what the Bible teaches is our shared authority, pretty much all of us, and science, because they don't contradict. Good, real science doesn't contradict truth that is taught in the Bible, which is that everything is out of God in the same way that Adam put his seed in Eve and through her gave birth to things. It's exactly what's parallel with God being the source of all things in 1 Corinthians 11. I've talked about it in Game Over, No Training. But even with 1 Corinthians 8, right, ties with that. So we know all things are out of God. Hebrews 1 says God actively created through the Son. Colossians 1 and some of these other texts like John 1, they don't specify the active cause like Hebrews 1 does. It's implied, as I've said, and as other texts show as well, like 1 Peter 3:22, where God subjects all things. God creates all things, with the implied subject in Colossians 1 all the way to 19 is God, right? You guys say that it's the Son in Colossians 1 and the Word in John 1 actively creating. The Word, they were created by in an active sense. That's what you guys tell us. That's not what that says. Can you claim that Dia has that kind of active creation sense? Not in a source way. I've already talked about this. That's Ek. There is an active creating sense for Dia, which both the Father and the Son and everyone have. All houses are built by someone. He that constructed all things is God. Hebrews 3, right? So I've talked about all this before, catasquazo. So if God constructed catasquazo all things, but every house, catasquazo, is built by someone, namely you and me, are we God? No, and they're both active there. So now what? Exactly with Dia. So when all things come out of the Father, just like the Bible says, and there's no creation ex nihilo, just like science confirms, oh, okay, so everything that comes out of the Father is eternal in its ultimate sense. Yes, that's why things don't just vanish into nothing. They return to the God who gave it in terms of our spirit, in terms of matter. Good luck trying to destroy it, okay? It's from God. Yes, it's been formed, it's been created into new things. Those are creations. Those are active things that are made out of what's from God. Both God and Jesus do that. Jesus says that explicitly in John 5. I don't do anything unless I first see what the Father's doing. Oh, so what does that mean? What does anything mean? Oh, it means anything? Oh, okay. And it's a negative? Ah, gotcha. So he actively does what? Nothing. Before what? Father. In time. Because you have to see first. What is time? Very obvious, pagans. It's all over the place. See you Sunday. We already talked about it. You guys are gone, right? They reify all these abstractions, right? From time, like it's some thing you're in. They're crazy. Other than a measurement that you're being measured by, that's not really an in. That's why they come up with all these wacky ideas. They don't understand the difference between physical and spiritual time and all the markers of both of them. I'll show you on Sunday. Either way, they reify also these other abstractions, right? God's attributes, right? We'll talk about that on Sunday. So much stuff. Glad to be back. Sam, you're fat. We have to say that because you prematurely forced me. No, I was getting ready. I was getting ready to come back probably in a couple weeks. I told everyone I'd be back in around May. But then I saw Fat Sam going insane, lying to everybody, right? So here are my options, right? When someone like Sam with a platform, and I've known him a long time, calls me out and he basically calls me a liar, calls me a Baal worshiper, insults me, right? And you're going to tell me what? How I should treat him? You know I'm not going to listen to you at all, right? Because you're not even involved and you shouldn't be saying anything. You have the mental problem. You need help. I'm here to help you, right? But only to such a point, right? I'm not here to deal with people if they can't actually grow up. If you can't actually deal with people who aren't doing anything illegal and only say things when they're dealing with people who should be illegal, right? You should be in jail. Either way, we have to deal with them. So, I'm going to do what I want and say what I want if I feel that way. I don't believe I always say the right things or don't ever make mistakes, but I've never said that. So I'm not here to meet a standard I haven't set or that I set. I'm just trying to help people worship the same God and do it in a way that makes sense based on the evidence, right? Whether that's direct from history, experiential, revelatory in ways that aren't insane, like their visions of Fatima and all these, right? These guys are gone. And let's pull up a text, right? So we already know everybody, right? Sam, we're going to pull up Sam here in a minute too. We're going to watch like the first part of his show yesterday where he insulted me. And you can tell he's still bothered by him being cursed, right? The fact that I called down a curse on Sam. Now that's biblical. We are empowered as Christians to bind on earth and loose on earth what we deem appropriate and do so with God's Spirit. If you can't do that, I think you probably do need some faith. It takes a while. Okay, it's not hard to call Sam, right? That's an easy call. In fact, I waited way too long. But Sam has been blaspheming me and condemning me on YouTube for years, lying about all these arguments, making me repeat myself, and go through all this stuff just to point out to everyone, hey, he's fat, right? This guy's crazy, and he's lying to you, right? Like I was saying earlier, he set up God logic. Excuse me. Fat Sam. He doesn't understand, right? Even though I've said it, because he doesn't watch anything, and even if he does watch it, we won't know if he's actually going to change his view, because he doesn't even believe. Isn't that obvious yet, right? So he lies to God logic and tells him, yeah, just tell him that they don't have a explanation for Jesus becoming a man. And where's Michael the Archangel, right? It's so stupid, dude. It's like he's like becoming dumber than I believed he would ever. I guess it was inevitable. Probably the hellworm, right? Reverting and laying siege to his brain. Right? What's remaining of his brain? Can't be much anymore. Either way, he's either lying and setting up God logic, right? And don't put that beyond Sam, right? If let me say this, like I've told you guys before, he's fat, right? He's fat, and also, let's see here. Let me see what I need to do. Okay. So if I do that, oh, I see. I remember, I'm still kind of getting used to this. Yeah, so Sam was fat, and he was he was lying to God logic and telling him, yeah, just tell him that they don't have an explanation for the consistency of persons and what happened to the person, right? Isn't that insane? Tell me that's not insane that he would do that. And he did. It was like, and it even seemed like God logic was like, I don't know. I don't know God logic that well, but I was watching that part and it almost looked like God Logic had heard my explanation or heard that before. And so when he heard, because, I made a big deal about, because that was related to the whole appearance on his show where he killed himself, right? Got totally destroyed. So I'm sure they're familiar with that and to some extent. So they've heard me hopefully explain, right? And of course I yelled out during my segment with Sam, John 1:29-30. He still has no explanation, right? He's still stupid. Right there, right? It's game over. And then you combine that with Hebrews 2, where it says, it parallels it with him and being created as a man, like men, right? Literally quotes the text from men and then to him, to show it's the same person he was before, fatso. So yes, he's the same person. He doesn't have the same authority, and he doesn't have the same nature. God Logic, I'm doing you a solid here, okay? You might want to look at my videos on this subject, but I may have made it very clear. Don't walk into this one, okay? Either deal with John 1:29-30 and explain to me how the man referred to there pre-existed John, since we know Jesus didn't pre-exist as a man, unless that was the person who became the man. Just like Philippians 2 says, they totally blow that as well, right? Right? They come up with this whole ridiculous theory, the kenosis, which is a full misrepresentation and misunderstanding, right, of kanao, to empty, to make no, that's gone, right? There's no limited here. He gave up the Marfe Theou, pagans. It's like in black and white, and you guys totally destroy that and other easy texts with your paganism and insanity and this fatso, and you come up with these theories and you make it seem like you don't even know what the Bible says. Why don't you show us where kanao in the Greek Old New Testament means what you say it means? Don't you find that a little strange? Oh yeah, because we do. Anyway. All right, so let me go to Fat Sam, Blubber Butt, my old friend Blubber Butt, or something. Yeah, so he's not, Sam, we try to have fun, but he's not a good person. You got to be careful. I can get away with this because I know Sam, I know, and he can't do anything to me. But he might be able to do something to you if you're not careful. Sam is relentless. He will pursue you. Yes, he will. He gets very paranoid, especially if he thinks you're someone like supporting someone like me or someone he doesn't like. He'll go crazy. It's hard to believe I know. So it's up to you, because I'm telling you, he's crazy. If you don't think he will come up with a new identity, and he has so many you won't believe. And the horde, right? Remember we referenced the horde earlier. We dealt with it in the early days when it was just this insane group of all these pagans, all of them, right? Sam literally had all these people on his team at that time. And then one by one, he did exactly what we said would happen. Collapsed, right? It was unbelievable. And now they all pretend, except the few idiots. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just too young and stupid. I don't know. Al's a fag. He wears glasses and a hat in an artificially lit room. To me, that's gay. Okay. And he actually promotes the Aramaic Bible in plain English, right? The one that says what it doesn't say in the IM text, but he's too stupid to understand that. So he literally promoted this, just like Sam, right? Al and the Fag Machine is an exact copy of Sam, but in a dumbed down version, right? A more stupid replica. And so he's always trying to put on these airs just to try to reach Sam. Right? He can't deal with Sam because Al is... Anyway, so these are the people informing God Logic. All you have to do, anything God Logic says, I've already talked about. There's not one, I don't think. If there is, let me know. I'll do a video. We're going to do a lot of videos. We're going to be in Isaiah a ton this weekend. I'll probably do an Angels of Yahweh in Isaiah 2. I'm going to be doing videos from here through to probably August. There might be a couple light weeks, but I'm pretty much back in now because of Fat Sam, right? He prematurely brought me in, which is fine, because I would rather deal with his lies and his blubber now than later. Let me bring him up. Let's go to his channel. In fact, let's let's do a stealth
that
destruct to this
confirmed
fatso.
the God that appeared and revealed himself was the Lord Jesus Christ. Yeah. You ready? Now we're
Let's
picking up
see,
where we left off.
fatso. Let's see what Blubber
You
Butt
ready?
says. Listen.
And we're going to come back to John 17:5. We're going to have fun. Maybe we'll finish it tonight. I don't know. But tonight, here you go. You ready? Meet fast. Guys, pray the Lord bless our numbers. Mods, get rid of the nuisances. Here it is. Screen large enough? Let me make it a little larger. I don't think it is. So, 1 Corinthians 10.
Okay, so we already believe this.
So I've been wanting
And
to
this
do
proves
a
that he's the
response to
angel.
Stafford on Isaiah 6
Remember,
because I got tired of his pathetically bad arguments.
I'm sure
back
you
and
did,
forth.
Sam. Remember, Sam and these pagans completely blow the whole angel understanding in the Bible, right? We've explained this, and I've documented this over and over again. He keeps ignoring it. He's fat, right? He's completely insane. We all know this. So what he does, we'll go back to him in a minute. we'll do more stealth destruction on Sam. But it's fat farming day, and he's fat. But Sam, he won't respond to stuff, right? How many times have we pointed out to him that the angel of Yahweh in the Old Testament doesn't know everything? And that there's more than one. And that understanding is also explained in the book of Acts, right? Mostly in Acts chapter 7. Whole video on it. How many times have we pointed out, and he's even admitted I'm correct, that 1 Thessalonians 4 proves Jesus is the archangel. Now, you want to say he's not Michael? Well, he's the archangel. So is that okay? Right? Why are you guys dealing with 1 Thessalonians 4 and phone and what that always means? Right, because you guys aren't honest, like this fatso. Let's check him out.
Hey, Jesus Christ reigns. He told me that Greggy started manifesting again. Is he planning to do another 96-hour stream? Because he watches me. He loves me, right? Even though I'm not his type, and he's not my type. He likes skinny toothpicks, and I'm not gay anyway. Now watch verse 9. Watch.
He always has to go the sodomy route, right?
Didn't I peg it? Greggy, come out to play. All right. Now, verse 9. Let us not put...
He is able to do that. But I'm going to punish him. You understand? He might succeed in drawing me out. He does. Because I know the threat. I know Sam. Remember, I don't underestimate him. I know what I'm doing. I know the timing. It was the right timing because he was misquoting him and acting like a pervert. Like right now.
Head. Let me show you why this is an amazing statement. Watch the cremation of Staffy. Staffy, come on to play. Poor guy. All right, watch here. You ready? Paul says Jesus is the Yahweh, Jehovah, that they angered in the wilderness and then unleashed fiery serpents to destroy them. Stafford, come out to play. Stafford, don't be gay. Numbers 21:49. Numbers 21:49. Tell him come here and learn. Tell him come up and join me, his Staffordites, to refute me. Okay, watch here. Then they set out from Mount Hor by the way to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom, and people became impatient on the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and we loathe this miserable food. Now watch. So Yahweh sent who? The Archangel Michael? Gabriel? Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people. and they bit the people so that many people of Israel died. Okay, who? Michael? Gabriel? Then the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned because we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh. Who? To Michael? That he may remove the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. Then Yahweh said to Moses, make a fiery serpent. Gabriel said to Moses, and set it on a standard, and it will be that everyone who is bitten and looks at it will live. Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on the standard, and it happened that if a serpent bit any man, when he looked to the bronze serpent, he lived. Now, Yahweh, right? Staffy, 1 Corinthians 10:9. Nor let us put Christ to the test, as some of them did and were destroyed by the serpents. Damn, Gina. Damn. Did you see? Paul said it was Christ they tempted. It was Christ they tested. And it was Christ that destroyed them with fiery serpents. See that? I'm waiting for the cat to go out. This cat bothers me. Hold on. Okay, now, watch how deep he's going to go. What is Paul telling you? Let me teach you. Remember, Paul is writing practical application. He's not just giving you theology. He didn't write this to give you theology or Christology. He's writing that to exhort you to holy living. Okay, you want me to go in depth, right? Everyone, Raphael, everyone? You want me to go in depth? Paul is warning the church. He says to the church, you are now Israel. I'm not lying. Go watch my series on who Israel is. Romans 11, Israel. He says, you are now Israel. But be careful that what happened to physical Israel will happen to you. And he gives a series of warnings. And he says in 1 Corinthians 10:6 and 11, that what happened to them were written down as exhortations and warning to us. Meaning, because Jesus is God and he does not change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Know for certain, the Lord will do to you what he did to them. He does not change. He's impartial. He's unbiased. He loves and he hates. He hates wickedness and will punish you severely.
I think you guys, hopefully that wasn't like a bad quality sound. Either way, let's go ahead and talk about what he just said. I tried to let him keep going, so he could get his fatness out. So did you hear what he just said? This is the same bad argument that God Logic and Jay Dyer used with this Unitarian. It was part of an argument. I talked about this already. Once again, I don't know a single person in Watchtower who knows what they're doing or who's associated with me who doesn't know how to answer what that fatso just said. It goes back to the same problem they always have. And that problem is they assume Jehovah, whom no one has seen God, not just the Father. The Father is God, therefore it's the same thing. That doesn't mean there's another person you can see who's of God. That's you reading the Trinity into those texts. The texts say, no man has seen God at any time. That means never, okay? So none of the appearances in the Old Testament, not even one, except possibly when Yahweh passed by Moses, put him in a rock, and covered him with his hand. Do you see any other place in the Bible where it says Yahweh appeared and did this, where that's done? Well, if it had to be done for Moses just to see Yahweh's back, how is it all these people are talking to him face to face, right? Because, fatso, that's what angels do. How many times do we have to quote Hebrews 1 to you to show that just like you and I, we believe, Unitarians are different, he's the imprint, fatso. See my Ignatius video tomorrow for more evidence against you on that. That means he's the exact image imprinted in time, fatty. That means he's created, blimp boy. Stop lying and being a weirdo. Okay, so if he's the exact imprint, if he's the image of God, fatso, what is it you don't understand when he's appearing as such to all these people and he's called an angel? Oh, where is he called an angel? Let's just go to those texts. You were just misquoting again because of how fat you are. We'll go to a Bible that, let's see, should we go to the Bible Hub? Let's do that. I wonder if it maybe not come. Okay, we'll just pull up the NWT right here. It may not be that big though, huh? It's not very big for you guys. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Okay, that's better. Let's get a little bit bigger here. Rather than pull everything, because I don't want to have to go to too many texts. Let's just read the context. There's not a dispute here. Okay, if you want to dispute any part of what I'm showing you from the NWT in a printed edition here, then go ahead and dispute it. We'll talk about it. So Fatso just read texts that identified Jesus as the one who followed them in the wilderness from 1 Corinthians and New Testament, which we all believe here, right? That's the angel Fatso. So all you're doing with these other texts that say it was Jehovah that did this and that, and we're going to get to it with the serpents, all you're doing is telling us that you believe that angel is a person of the Trinity, which is what you're doing, right? That's what you believe. That's called begging the question, fatty. Right, it's you assuming what you haven't proven. It's called an angel. Right, angels are spirits born from spirits. They're made spirits, both Old and New Testament. Psalm 104, Hebrews 1. Whole videos on it. No response. You're fat. Right? Okay, so where are you getting that this created angel is not created? Oh, because it says Jehovah says, or I am Jehovah? Guess what, fatso? That's what angels do according to Acts 7. Whole video on it. No response from you. There, you're going to read the New Testament. In your, in my view, inspired apostles interpreting texts in the Old Testament that say Yahweh said or was there, and say it was angels, plural, fatso. Like how many donuts you had today? More than one? Exactly. So you're wrong on every conceivable level. You're stupid. Okay, fatty? Now look here, blimp boy. That text you just read, that text you just raped from the Bible, by raping I mean you forced your fatness on it and you tried to obscure it with your blubber, right? Well, let's just take a little look here, fatty, at what actually is being said. Numbers 20:16. Let's make it even bigger because the fat folds are taking over again. I can see. Dude, you need to go to the hospital. We just saw you going totally insane. Look, you're blimped out, dude. It's over. We'll get back to you. You're fat. Okay, so he just quoted a text from the New Testament we all accept and believe that Jesus is the angel that followed them, right? Gone. Then he connects it with an account in Numbers and says, see, that angel that Paul's talking about, it says it's Yahweh. Oh, no. Because that's what all the angels do, fatso, right? All of them say that because they're not doing their own will, right? Yeah, you'd have to be like Satan or someone else, and then, no, you don't speak like that. But from Genesis to Revelation, God logic got that wrong too. He humiliated the Mormon guy because the Mormon guy didn't understand what he was talking about either. And all it took was God logic to say, no, that's not true. Guy folded. This is the competition? Are you serious? You guys are a joke, right? It's Tomato Can City, man. It's a joke. It's over. Right here, Numbers 20:16, fatso. Finally, we cried out to Jehovah and we heard our voice. He heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a city at the extremity of your territory. So right there, before the whole matter with the serpents, and right after, it says in Numbers 22:22, the anger of God began to blaze because he was going, and Jehovah's angel proceeded to station himself in the road, and he was riding upon a she-ass. Verse 23, and the ass got to see Jehovah's angel in the road with his drawn sword. That's Michael. That's the prince of the army of Yah. Oh, fatso. Just like Joshua 5 says, just like you're going to find out, and all you're going to find out, they keep blaspheming the great prince. You are going to pay for this blasphemy that you pigs have been heaping upon him. This is the angel, fatso. Look at verse 24. Angel kept standing. Verse 25, angel began to squeeze. Verse 26, angel passed again. Verse 27, angel. How many times does it have to tell you, fatso? Verse 34, Balaam said to Jehovah's angel. Verse 35, angel. Okay, what did it say earlier, Sam? First, let's go to your whole little serpent thing. What was the first verse I showed you, though? Where it said he brought them out of Egypt. Right? So you see right here, he quoted this account where in Numbers 21:16 it says, so Jehovah sent poisonous serpents among the people and they kept biting people. So they died, right? He tries to make it seem like because it's Jehovah talking and it's Jehovah sending, now all of a sudden the angel isn't there, right? Even though it's everywhere else, right before and right after this account. And this account, right before this part of the account, says it's the angel whom Jehovah sent and brought him out of Egypt that's there. Right there. Oh, and I get, what is it that says about that angel who brings him out of Egypt in the account we always reference and that they reference and that they blow every time? Exodus 23. It's right here, fatso, verse 20. Here I am sending an angel ahead of you to keep you on the road, bring you in the place that I have prepared. Watch yourself because of him and obey his voice. Don't behave rebelliously against him, for he will not pardon your transgression, because my name is with him. Oh, so what happens here, Fat Sam, when like you, people are rebellious and they don't get pardoned? Oh, that sounds like he's going to kill them, right? You know, like send serpents. The very same angel that references this account in Numbers 20, right before the account where the serpents are sent in Numbers 21. These perverts think that because it says Jehovah and not angel every single time, Jehovah just showed up and said, get out of my way, right? Get out of my way, angel. Get out of my way, Michael, whoever. I'm here now. Yeah, I said right here, I'm sending the angel. He's going to be the one doing all this. But if you obey him and do all that I speak, just like Jesus, fatso, why don't you quote the text in the New Testament in John 7, John 8, everywhere, John 12, where Jesus says, I don't speak anything of my own, only what I was taught, learned, because I'm not omniscient, from the Father. They're not my words, fatso. No, I got these from the Father. Right, just like right here, blubberbutt. See, he's not Jehovah, he's the angel speaking God's words, just like Jesus. That's what angels do. Did you know that, fatty? right? How many times we got to tell you? How many times we got to dial this up for all you pagans? I think you guys are all lame, stupid, and retarded. I think you just don't want to accept the fact that giving up your fake God is going to cost you everything. And that, everybody, is the key. Okay, you want to know how you will know if you're like me and you believe and you're going to go, no matter what these fatsos say or think or believe? Are you ready to lose everything for it? These guys are not. What is Sam going to do? Let's say he says, okay, Greg, you're right. It's all obvious. I'm a total idiot. Just like you showed me in Jude, how Michael says the exact same words that the angel of Yahweh says. They both are saying the same phrases according to the Old and New Testaments. And what they're saying disqualifies them from being Yahweh according to Peter, right? No response to that. No response to the unanswerable questions, and I haven't even put them all up yet. Fatso. This game's over. You guys are finished. Get back to your tomato cans before you get completely humiliated and disgraced on every level. Theological, philosophical, scientific, grammatical. You guys are gone. Get back to your veneration of your pagans, including this fatso who fooled every single one of you. He fooled the Protestants. He fooled the Catholics. He fooled the ortho-pagans too, till he turned on them. And then all of a sudden, he's a problem. Guess what? He's been a problem. It's time for you Protestants to realize you got a problem. You got a big, fat problem. You're tied to these pagans. Fat Sam knows it. They know it too. But they tolerate you because you guys yield to them. It's the dragon. And it's not going to be easy. But if you believe, you can do it. It's that simple. I can't say anything more. Look at Sam. He's a coward. He's a pig. He's a fatso. He can't do anything else other than mutate to wherever else he might be able to leech off of and still have some dignity. Although he's losing most of that, right? Guy's gone. He's completely gone in every way. And these guys are going to him, right? These guys are literally submitting to this pig in public in front of thousands of people, right? Oh yeah, right in the light. And if the light that's in them is really darkness, how dark is that darkness inside them? That's what you have to be asking, because that's what you're not seeing. You're not seeing the darkness in almost any of these human beings. I may show you mine from time to time because I'm just a normal human being. These guys are all lying to you. If you don't know these people online, you better not be getting close to them. You better be dealing with the people who you actually know who are near you, even if it's just one or two. And you'd be lucky if you have that too. Because how many did Jesus say would have to be there if he was there too? And how many did he say there would be on that day when he took one, two? So this idea that you need to have a lot is false. You're going to have to get used to this if you're really like this. If you're not, well, Sam's fat, okay? Just remember that then, right? If you take nothing else from this and you're not a believer like me and you're not prepared to do what I do because I believe, and that's who I want around me. I don't need these people who just show up from time to time and who try to just make you like them because they don't even know who they are. And they're cowards who can't stand up to proven liars, whether it's Watchtower or these pagans. No, because they're not strong enough to stand on their own. They're not strong enough to go with what's written. And I'm going to show you in my Ignatius video that I upload in the morning and in my Sunday show about the Canon Part 3, just how much of a history we have. And they don't. And we're all collapsed, right? Like Sam's rear end after being sodomized, right? And spiritually, this is referenced in the Bible. Plus, Sam is also an abuser. And David Wood is an actual sodomite that helped Sam. So there's sodomy everywhere with these guys, right? It's all pagan, right? So we saw already, right? You see how they absolutely cannot deal with the Bible? we saw this fatso absolutely collapse. Look at him. Look at him again. He's going insane.
Here's what it looks like. All capital letters, no spaces. See? That's it.
You know, Sam's actually not, well, even though he's gone, right? I don't underestimate him. I actually give Sam credit. As I told you, then I annihilate him, right? Now, here's the thing. If you give Sam credit, it's where a lot of you fail here too. And I understand, okay? I kind of tried to walk that line a little bit with him a few years ago, but I didn't go all the way, and he's nuts, okay? Sam's really good at drawing you in. He's crazy. Sam is cursed beyond all imagination, right? I'm going to show you the video where he kind of took issue. Let's go to his older video. He's doing this one now, but you know, we're going to deal with his whole Isaiah insanity tomorrow. Let me show you what he said yesterday, the first part, and how he got upset about me cursing him. Sam, nobody, that's like I said, right? I mean, is this like a hard call, right? Is anyone having a hard time seeing that Sam is cursed? Right? I'm not like casting a spell on him like in like black magic. I don't do that. The Bible uses cursed and accursed many times. I have a whole long segment of a video recently I did. You can read the playlist. You can see it. Okay? So it's not hard to see what cursing is. Let's look at a text. Right? Since we're already in Galatians or New NWT, let's go to Galatians real quick before we go to Phat Sam. Let me bring up his video here. He's got all these cartoons. I do kind of like that, but he's also a pervert. We'll come back to him. We're going to come back to him. You stay right there. Little cartoon Sam. And Sam, now this goes way back. Sam also, this is about Sam. This is a Sam show. We're getting it all out, right? We're getting it all out today because tomorrow, now in the morning, like tomorrow morning, for me, I'm in California, so sometime in the early morning, I will upload a video I've done about Ignatius, early Christian views of Jesus, and it's a very important video. It will also tie into part of our discussion on the canon Sunday. Okay, so there's big stuff here. You really need to see this both for the Trinity and canon stuff, okay, and our history is big. I spent a lot of time on this, and I've done it for years, but I went back and redid it, and you're going to love this. Okay, so, because Ignatius isn't so easy, so it took a little time, but in doing so, I found a gold mine. Just tons of stuff we already knew, but it's even more so true. So, either way, look, this whole cursing thing that he's panicked about, because he knows it's true, right? He knows he's being punished, right? Everybody's abandoned him pretty much, except for the really low-level perverts. He's got a few people with like the guy that does the AI. He's got a few people. I don't want to say they're all perverts, but right, like those guys are gone. Okay, way gone. God Logic, he's almost gone. I don't really. I've seen enough to know he just repeats Sam. Once I saw he was just repeating what Sam said, who cares, right? Because he's not even as good as Sam, and he doesn't know even close. Right? Would be it. So. Whatever, right? But that's all he is. If you don't think so, let me know. I'm not aware of anything he really says that isn't basically what Sam has said or would say. And he goes to him all the time. So he's been doing this a long time. So I would just say if I've dealt with Sam on it, it's the same as doing with God Logic because they're both stupid, right? All right, look at this right here. So let's go. Right? We got all accursed, right? It's all throughout the Bible, right? Right. We've covered these texts before. Like I said, people get upset. They don't understand because again, a lot of people come up with their own ideas, right? This is why we all have these false and fake religions. Look at Phat Sam, right? He's gone. So they don't stop and actually understand either what's being said or what the support is for it. No, they just will hear me say something and then all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh. Well, okay, why did I say that? Have you actually thought about that and looked at it? If so, and you still don't agree, okay, well, then we'll talk about it. But if not, I don't know what to tell you. It's all right here. So anyway, where were we? We'll go down here. If anyone has no affection for the Lord, let him be accursed, right? It's not like something where you need, like, that's why they say, and why I tell you guys. And John says this, right? If anyone doesn't bring, and you're going to see in a minute, Paul too goes even further than this. If anyone brings a different Jesus than what you see in the best available reasons and teachings that we have, and our tradition that I'm going to show you even more so tomorrow on Sunday, then I wouldn't get close with them. Everyone, you have to answer for yourself. We don't control people in those ways here unless you sin against us individually, in which case it's Matthew 18 or nothing. But apart from the three things, I recommend, right? I recommend, based on my experience, that you be very careful getting close with people who don't have an accurate Jesus, right? It's not hard to see in everybody, unless you're excluding books or parts of books. It's pretty easy to see. Unless you're using tradition after the Bible, it's pretty easy to see, right? I wouldn't get too close with them, right? Some people are still learning, and I'm not saying avoid people, but just be cautious. Okay, this isn't said for no reason. You're not really going to be able to have full communion, right? Partaking and having a spiritual bonding, which is why it's so difficult online, because we can't test people the way we're supposed to. We're supposed to show what they've been doing. Prove it. Doesn't always have to be by giving a video, but what have you been active in? What have you been believing? What have you been telling other people? If you've been worshiping the Lord, God, and Jesus, as we're taught, you're doing fine. I don't care how many people you got, right? Trust me, it's the people who don't the right way that are in trouble. Like Sam, it doesn't matter how many people we have, he's gone. Right, look at Galatians 1, everybody. We've talked about it how many times? Right, this is not something I think, they remember often. I'm looking for my controller here. Look at what it says, right? These people often, like especially the orthopagans and others, the way they venerate all these saints and people after the apostles in ways that are not appropriate. They look to them as this kind of continuation. Look, that's only true if they're teaching what we can verify from what is written and from the apostles, because that's the best available evidence we have, and we're told that's what the first Christians did. They carried on the teachings of Jesus and the apostles, which were fulfilled from the Old Testament, so that's the scriptures, and the teachings from the New Testament show us what happened to the extent that we're able to determine it based on what we have. Sola Veritas. Galatians 1:8 says, if we, who's the we pagans? Apostle, anybody. Revelation 2:2, we'll get to it in a minute. If we or an angel, okay? Doesn't matter what kind of vision you have. Doesn't matter what angel tells you something. If a human or an angel out of heaven says something beyond what we declared, past tense, let him be accursed. I say again, whoever declares to you as good news something beyond what you accepted, let him be accursed. Am I trying to, in fact, is it men I'm trying to persuade or God? Am I seeking to please men, humans, women, any human? Right here, we or an angel. If I were yet pleasing man, I would not be Christ's slave. It's right there. How many people you think you're going to have? Probably as many as Paul. And that wasn't many at all. Think Timothy. Okay? There weren't any women helping Paul. Right? I think of all these women today would love to help Paul, right? How many helped him when he was Paul? Double donut, right? He had to use Timothy. He had a few, though. Actually, Paul did speak well of some women. They did help him. But, I mean, he was not even for it because it was so, obviously wasn't productive for what he was doing to have someone with him all the time in a way that you would think would be women today, right? No, it's not like that at all. You're going to have to suffer a little bit. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to not have people like you? Well, then you better be prepared to say, like Paul said, I didn't receive it from a man. Jesus is not a human. He's a spirit. 1 Corinthians 15:45. He became that as resurrection, first from the dead, by the Father, game over, no Trinity. It's right there. No one's answered that. He was created a life-giving spirit when he was resurrected as the firstborn, exactly like he was created as a spirit born from spirit, firstborn. See how pagan these guys are? How many times is it defined for us in the Bible? 4 times minimum. They miss all of them. Oh, it just means preeminent. Yeah, firstborn is preeminent. That's true. See how what they do? They seize upon aspects of a word's meaning and then exclude the ones that are actually also there too. And then they say, no, it's just this. No, it's the whole word, fag, right? That's why they equivocate. That's why they use God for a nature that's not a person, and for a person that's not its own, doesn't have its own nature. Yet every single person has its own nature, unless you're a Siamese twin, right? And it's not even a father or son that's happening in any analogous sense to the Trinity. But like I said, in terms of the shared nature, not being divided, multiple persons, Siamese, Trimese twin, as close as I can get. It's better than their analogies, and at least it doesn't create division in the sense that they object. Whereas they try to create this whole generic mankind, right, by using individual humans, right? Yeah, well, the Bible uses individual spirits for that too. That's what we've been telling you. We don't need all this later paganism. Do you read? What is it you don't understand, pagans? So if an apostle, anybody, right here he tells you, anybody goes beyond this, game over, pagans. And you're going to see that even more when I present to you from Ignatius. Oh, yeah. And others. Oh, it's over. It's game over. It's all it and it has been, right? They've been oppressing us. They've been oppressing us because it's a dragon, everybody. Look at them. They're all just like the dragon. All their stuff comes basically from the 4th century. It's a dragon. And all this Middle Platonism from before that, not adhering to what is written, which I'm going to show you is a departure with Ignatius and other people like him. And I'm going to show you our early brothers. You ready? Tomorrow, game over, no Trinity. And we have a history. Their history is fraudulent. Their history is filled with so much interpolation that even with it, we can see the revelation of Jesus Christ, right? Look at what they did to Revelation, and it's still right there for us, right? They changed the number of the beast or the Antichrist because they knew it pointed to Constantine. So what did they do? They changed the number to point to Nero. Who's going to object to that, right? Changes everything. It changes the interpretive frame, just like I told you in my series a few years ago, and I'll tell you again, because we're going to talk more about Constantine as the Antichrist who came and changed everything. And he really did. And I've already talked about it. It's right there in Schaff's history and in other histories. It's history. It's these pagans' history. It's the Dragon Church history. It's the thing that keeps them all bound and locked to their paganism and lies, right? To Phat Sam and all his horrific insanity. This is what's happening, everybody. I'm pumped up. Are you? We got shows to do. Where's that? I know I had a controller over here somewhere. What do I deal with it? Anyway, just have to deal with it. Where's Phat Sam? Let's take a look at Blubber Butt. He's fat. Right, so Sam, right here, dude. Right here, man. What do you mean you're not cursed? Right? What do you mean? Why is that so unusual to you? Because you're way beyond what's in these texts, dude. Right? It's like, you're one of the most cursed of all time, man. Right? Everybody is in this insanity. And look at the people that actually go, even even these popular lames. Look at how bad the field is. To me, it's like, what a catastrophe, right? Sam has basically set all these people up to fail, has he not? He has. Dude, if God logic brings up Michael, and he even did it. He keeps bringing it up, talking to these Watchtower people, right? So stupid. He doesn't. It's just like they what they do. They just lie to themselves. Like I told you about Satan earlier. They create this fantasy. Same with Watchtower people too. We've all done it at times, I guess, but I think you reach a point where you're like, okay, I can't let myself fall into this pattern of lying to myself, right? I've got to go with what's true so that I can actually deal with reality to the extent that I'm able to define it in ways that allow me to, manage it. These guys go into metaphysics related to God that have nothing to do with anything they've actually experienced or that's explicitly taught. Think about that. Think about how much time these pagans spend with the metaphysics of the Trinity that are nowhere explicitly articulated in the New Testament they accept. When right here, it says, if you declare anything as good news, right? I don't know how you could have the whole thing is good news related to Jesus and the resurrection of God, of him by God from the dead, right here, right? And then Jesus raises up his physical body, like he says in John 2:19, unless you're a modalist, right? Which many of them are. They're pagan. Either way, this is 1 Corinthians 15:45 right here, Galatians 1:1, game over. Firstborn from the dead, game over, right? No one's responding to me on that, game over. So Sam, you can run and you can go back to all these texts and Isaiah, we're going to talk about tomorrow. He's running, everyone. This is Sam. He doesn't really run because he's too fat, right? It's him rolling, right? He's rolling, but he's kind of like trying to pretend he's running and he's fat. So just know he's going to lie to you. Look at how he lied to God logic. Literally they're too kind of locked in. It's almost like a trauma bond, but in a different way. It takes a while, right? They all kind of go through it though with Sam, like we know. Either way, he's going to keep lying. That's what he does. That's what the dragon does. Lying works, everybody. That's why you got to limit it. We deal with him because, we got to deal with it at some point or he'll use it against us, right? So I've dealt with him sufficiently and I'll selectively keep pounding him down because he's fat and a liar, right? Blasphemes God on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, while not working, while getting fat, while abusing his kids, and doing all kinds of other things. It's just insane, right? So he's the worst possible example for anyone to use in this way. And yet, every single one of these major Christian religions, Protestants, many of them, Catholic, many of them, East Ortho-pagans, and there's many that you don't even know about that I know about who on Facebook and elsewhere, and they're still relevant, have been trying to get me with Sam and all this for years. Goes all the way back to Pasantino Day. These guys have been helping and supporting and sodomizing Sam for decades. This is not recent, okay? Maybe for a few people. Otherwise, no, right? Beyond gone in every way. And he just keeps burdening people, forcing us to deal with him because he's a pig face. So I'm going to make it painful for him. You understand? If you don't engage Sam. Okay, he's going to steamroll you. If you're not prepared to deal with this pig, shut your mouth and let me deal with it. Deal with other people, okay? That's fine. I don't like it when people come here and try to deal with people they're not prepared for. You're just making it worse. Okay, he deserves everything he's getting and more. A lot more, and he's going to get more. He's number one in blasphemy, okay? And yet he thinks it's odd that he's cursed. Go figure, right? So he's not in a reasonable state. We can't communicate with him. That's why I say he's gone, right? I don't just say that, right? It's funny, and he is. But it's out of control, right? So let's just take a little look here at part of his video. And he's gone. Remember, everyone, tomorrow morning, Ignatius video, you're going to be blown. This is really good stuff. And it's going to carry over into Sunday, too. Excuse me. No fuel right there for fatso, right? We're fat farming. Sam and his blubber. Remember, everyone, we're not against people who are fat. If you're like, you just have a problem, and we all have problems at times. I made that clear. But the Bible says if you're a fatso, you're a disgrace to your father. And Sam regularly disgraces his parents. I'm trying to communicate what the father of the son is telling me about his mother and what all the abuse. That's how I know he's blubber butt. I remember back in the day, I know Sam, okay? And we had to punish him. We had to give him a lot of restriction when he was a little fatso, right? We had to lock him up and punish him. And now he resents us, right? He resents the retroactive parenting that we try to provide to him. We got to rescue the kids, right? Everyone, we need to at some point. The abuse is out of control. Everyone sees this. At some point, though, the daughters are going to get away from Sam. They're going to know, hey, he's blubber butt, right? He's gone, and they're gonna hate the Trinity because Sam has totally destroyed his whole life and relationship with them, and been a fatso and a pig while they're there for the Trinity because he can't stop. He's so insecure, right? He's gone. He's given his whole life to this fake God, right? To all this paganism and lies, right? Slander, abuse. It's unbelievable, okay? He will slander and attack people like you can't believe. Look at this fatso right here. Look at this blubber butt. And he loves to lie. He loves to tune you, right? This is Sam tuning, everybody. He's tuning himself, but back in the day, right? Back in the day, Sam, he loved to tune you. He must tune you. And tuning you was a way for Sam to begin the process of deconstruction, right? First he tuned you, then he assaulted you and your mother. This was the way of Sam. And so, oh, wait a minute, he's fat. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to Sam. Anyway, he loves to tune things and make them things they're not, right? Everything with Sam is fake. Remember that. Especially when it's about him and his lies, right?
How tall? I was hoping.
Okay, let's listen to this fatso.
Lovely. See, the cat comes. Whenever I go live, stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Isn't she beautiful? Someone's going to be bleeding. Someone's going to be biting his lip. Someone's going.
Who do you think he's talking about? Right? Fatso.
Going to start bleeding and swearing and manifesting. Moshe, where you been, Moshe? Moshe. I'm trying, brother. In 2 months, hopefully I'll drop another 20 pounds. And you drop them, you find them, pick them up. What's up, Kitty Layson? Where's Kitty Layson? She here? Why are you lying, man? She's not here, dude. Someone's going to be bleeding today. Someone's going to bleed today.
He is out of control, right? I mean, he's clearly bloated. Well, I don't want to get too deep on the description yet. Let's let him continue.
What's up? Hope, what's up, man? You still got hope? All right. Camly, what's up? Where's Marco? Yeah, that's you, man. I may come in neck your woods, see you maybe next week.
I'm just going to do a little 5-second skips to get him to say something meaningful because he's fat.
Maybe take a drive. Meat fest again. Isn't she love? Today, God willing, it'll be a meat fest again. It'll be very in-depth. It'll probably be 2-3 parts.
Sam and his parts, right? Most of his parts aren't about the actual subject, right? That's why he's got to do multiple parts to actually, hopefully, right? Not always, get to the actual subject. It's insane.
It's not going to be one part. It'll probably be 2 or 3 parts. I had to rush to finish the article for the session. Mr. Hanna, send me a dream. The only guy we don't see is Arthur Christos, man. Shoot, man. Shoot.
Did you see him fondle himself right there? See, this, I do have to point this out. Look at this. Ha ha. He's gone. Sam.
The only guy we don't see is Arthur Christos.
Right there. Did you see that? Ha ha. Watch again.
Hanna, send me a dream.
Right here. Watch like where his bra is. Look at his lower left. His hand, he goes in and he touches himself.
The only guy we don't see is Arthur Christos, man. Shoot, man. Shoot. All right. Well, Spirit, how's everybody doing? Where's Rumble? Rumble, how you doing, Rumble? Camder. Nick. The recent debate with Garza. He's probably one of the worst debaters, very sharp, intelligent. You are telling people that's not my channel, right? Because I got a comment saying, right? A comment saying that they're having a hard time finding my channel, their Shamoun's official channel, even though it's, by the way, what happened? What happened to that snake? The archive, that snake still around?
So as we know, Sam has a problem getting to his actual, this show's supposed to be about, me and my view of Isaiah and John and all this stuff. We know Sam takes forever, does multiple prayers, right? He does everything in violation of what we're taught in the New Testament, right? He does repetitive prayers, public prayers, and ways to be viewed by everything. All the things that are spoken of against doing, that you're not to do in the New Testament, Sam does. Usually in every show. It's bad. So I'm trying to skip that. Fatso.
That bastard of Satan. That filthy dog. You bastard son of Satan. Spiritual bastard. Where'd that leave you? Yeah, I used to listen to him, but, I didn't really get edified. Are you getting edified with the drama there? You filthy snake. Isn't exposing me, exposing you guys. So how's everybody doing? If you haven't subscribed, it was way back when David Wood and, I should say, David Woodstein, an adulterous prophet, tried to slam. And then he had to go into damage control because Christians were calling him out, right? And they told me he needs to step down, and he does need to. A lot of hatred. And instead of thinking he's winning with Muslims, more to go after him.
There's a part coming up where he gets all, he's, again, this is supposed to be about me and these things, but Sam has many distractions. He's a baby. So let's just go back again real quick because he's bloated and fat.
Because he's stupid. I know that, brother. This is what he's left with. Not going to get exegesis. If I have to send you the link to this, guys, know the rules. Focus, everyone, of idolatry. Glory to you, Father. Glory to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay, understand, he's 20 minutes, I'm at 19, 19 minute, 13 second of a 1 hour and 52 minute video. He hasn't started, and he's still praying, and he's fat.
Glory to you, Holy Spirit. Give us the help in my chest and use me. Okay, ready? I had to rush to finish this article. So what that means is, the article is in the description box. There's a lot of meat to unpack. And I've been wanting to respond. Is the time. Excerpt from his book. And so now on to this excerpt from his book, maybe 3, because it's a meat fest. There's a lot of meat to unpack. And I've been wanting to respond to this excerpt from his book. And so now is the time, because
he's talking about me, and he doesn't deal with the details of either my book or my article or my video. So he's insane, right? He's a crazy person. This is what he does. He just pretends like he's responding. I think he's actually a little bit smarter. I think he pretends so he doesn't have to do a lot of, he's fat. And then he knows his audience is going to believe him because they're stupid usually. And they don't take the time. He doesn't even really read or watch most of what I do. Like a couple things that he's going to use, he'll do, but he can't handle it. He's gone, right? Game over.
We just did Isaiah, Jesus appeared. But is God. You're so pretty.
All these articles he's done are a catastrophe. None of them, again, incorporate the totality or even the majority, right, of what I've actually written or said on these subjects, the ones he's talking about. And that's typical for Sam's stuff. He does not do a thorough review. He can't. It's not even a question of, time. He's gone. So there's a limited range before he breaks down, right? He can only handle so much at this point. He never really was like a great, right? He's always been a good arguer and he's good in public, but even there he's limited, right? He'll start repeating himself and he goes insane if you know what you're doing. Either way, he's gone.
You see, first, on the first of every month, got to wait till the end of the night. Uncreated divine person of Christ.
We're going to be dealing with all this stuff, his comments and his article, everything. And I've already done it, right? So everything he's basically showing in yesterday's video, he's doing part 2 right now, or I've just finished, whatever. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow, live. I put the link up. The notice is up. And then I'll load my Ignatius video in the morning. That's not live. Either way, everything he's showing you in his articles and saying, I've already refuted, and it's based on him misquoting key texts like I'm going to show you tomorrow. That's why I had to come back because, look, everybody, you all know I don't like dealing with these perverts. I don't really, even though I've had to do it and I've done it, I've reached a point where I don't really like dealing with these guys. They're a waste of time. I often tell you guys stop arguing the Trinity, right? Because how long are we going to keep doing it? I'll have to keep doing it because if I don't do it and these guys just keep saying what they're saying and there's no response, there better be someone else who's ready to push back the same level because we're not going to let these pigs be the only and loudest voice in town on this sub. No, we're not going to abandon the Father like the Watchtower people have for their proven liars. Okay? Well, I don't like dealing with these perverts, though. I don't like dealing with, I think it's a waste. I think we're violating in a large part Philippians 2:2-14 about arguing all the time. But, these are pagan, right? This is a new level of lying and deception that's not really fully anticipated in texts like that I can see. So we have to make a judgment call. And I've decided when there's times I've got to deal with this fatso. Either way, I highly recommend you save yourself some time and just understand they like to bait you, okay? Sam is like the number one. He's one of the number ones, if not the, in terms of he's just really good at lying. That's what it is. Pretending it never happened. And that works. Oh, it just does, doesn't it? It has this effect on people, especially if you're weak-minded and you haven't strengthened your mind. Look at Watchtower. Okay? You can be easily convinced, and we always have been subject to this, and that's why we keep having problems. That's why we've got these fat pigs who keep talking all this nonsense, like this guy. Okay? He's a bloated fag. And all he does is repeat the same things that have already been destroyed, and he acts like it's brand new. Okay? At some point, you need to be able to see that and then pull back, or you'll just get sucked in, repeating the same cycle over and over again. And some extent of that is necessary, like we've been saying, in order to keep them from having this permanent dominance of voice. But sometimes if you keep saying it too many times, you lose your voice, and that's what's happening to them. And if we handle it right and still deal with them by not saying as much as they do, we can win. Okay? So don't overdo it. We've already beat these people in every way. Public debate, writing, all of it. They have nothing to say. We've destroyed these people. They've been ignoring me, ignoring what I've been saying, and we know it. Okay? It's game over. You're fat, and you guys are liars, and you're pagans. You've disgraced the name of God. You've disgraced the identity of him and his son, and you've blasphemed his spirit, which you don't even understand. It's unbelievable the things we've had to deal with these people. And you want more? Ignatius tomorrow. City of Jah praise stream Sunday. Let's look at this fatso.
Christ and ancient church. 1 million Muslims seeing it and survived. Come up to play. You are courageous, I'll bring you up. All right. All right. It's sad, though, that we don't have enough Assyrian theologians. All right, beautiful, man. Don't tell that to... You ready now for Stafford? So we can make him bleed? Bleed for us, Stafford. Bleed. Bleed, my boy. Bleed. Stafford. Come up to play. Stafford. Are you here to stay? Let me know if someone wants to come and try to defend his religion. We'll have a field day. Okay, ready? All right. Is the screen large enough? Let me see.
And that's exactly what I tried to do. If you look at the community, you could see I put 4 screenshots before he banned me, right? This guy is such a liar. He makes himself look like things he's not, right? That's the whole tuning thing. And again, in one sense, if Sam was just this bloated cow who occasionally went off, went crazy because of his doctrine, whatever. I mean, not how people get defensive and things like that, but this guy's gone. Okay. I mean, this is not a normal situation, right? It's beyond anything you can imagine, really, when you think about it, what he's claiming to represent, how he is, what he's done, the people he's attacked, and how he's attacked, the lying, slander, right? The abuse, right? The fact that he can't even live up to the basic standard of an adult male in the Bible, in the New Testament, sufficient to even warrant this kind of position he's taken on himself, right? It's all for him. All this stuff he lies about, he is the biggest cult of personality person on the planet, right? He gets all bothered when people like Jay Dyer and others start getting more attention. Have you noticed that? Oh, yeah. He can't handle it. You don't understand Sam. But he will also double back, right? Because remember, the Legion knows tactics, right? That's the Legion. They learned those from the Romans. And they apply them through Sam, right? The Romans were good at building. We've talked about it. We've talked about Sam, how he has contractor demons, right? He has demons who are builders, and they work on him on the dark side of his brain. And then there's that. He's got a lot of problems, right? Sam, this cursing thing, believe me, pal, I've been pretty mild on you. I know that Sam still has a part to play, unfortunately. We got to tolerate him a little longer. It's like Judas, right? They knew he was the guy at some point, but I had to tolerate him. Right? Where everyone gets time. Sam's still, it's going to be bad, right? Sam, punishment, right? We'll have a great punishment. Big punishment, Sam. Oh. So he gets that time to be a fatso. And then we're gonna punish him though, because see what he's doing with his time? He's attacking people. Right? He's trying to make it hard on people. That's what he does. He's a slanderer. The devil. Right? He's a tool of the devil. Fatso.
Let me see if it's large enough. Hold on. I gotta go on YouTube to see. Because on my screen it's large enough, but it doesn't matter. I scream, you scream. We all scream from ice cream. What a liar, man. Wicked, wicked liar. Wicked liar. These guys are such liars, dude.
He's literally number one in line, right? He's number one in all of it, right? And that ice cream, that was not a slip of the tongue. He's dying inside. He wants food.
No, it's not large enough. Hold on. I scream, you scream. We all
see, he's talking about ice cream, people screaming. This is what is on his mind when he sings.
Scream for ice cream. Stafford, come out to play. We're going to be focusing on John 12 and Isaiah 6. There may not be a next generation Moshe. The way it's going, Jesus will return. Let's pray for that and that we're ready to meet him. So no more.
Now, we're going to be what he's about to get into from this very video right here and anything that he talked about today that's relevant, right? I'll watch the whole thing. Believe me, he's making so many mistakes. In this video that we're watching, we'll get back to it in just a second. It was yesterday. He's crazy. I mean, I'll show you. You'll see tomorrow. But the guy's gone. And then he misquotes Isaiah 10. It was one of the worst I've seen. I even called him out on it in his chat, and that's when he banned me because he knew I was catching him. I was just starting too, right? He invited, as you saw, he invited people, and he's calling me out. So I show up, and what does he do? He bans me. After what, like 3 or 4 comments, he banned me. All those comments you saw, that's all I got. He banned me after those. I couldn't even correct. I put the end of Isaiah 52 because the Greek and Hebrew, you got to look at them both, forget the word glory in the way that is connected with John 12. I put end of Isaiah 52 and Isaiah 52, but I meant 53, which he knows. It's in the very paper he's quoting. But I didn't even get to correct that because he's a fatso. Anyway, let's do a little bit more here. We're not going to get into the refutation because that's tomorrow. But I think there's a part in here, maybe we passed it, where he started calling me a ball worshiper. Let's see if I can find out where. I think he starts walking around. Let me see if I can find that. I'll bring you guys on. Blubber butt. It's hopeless. He's fat. All right, we'll give him a couple more. Let's look. Let's see what this fatso's doing.
Taxes, no more pain, no more misery, no more death. Okay, we ready? What's the passage? John 12.
Okay, I must have see. I want to say it was around here. I was listening to the live. Yes, that's why I started commenting. Fatso.
Need you. And we pray for, there's a lot of meat to unpack. Edification that hate me and want to see me shut down. God's will be the kingdom and the power. So I'm Carlos. Admissions that pulverize his fake God, because his God is admission. He embarrasses discussion with him. Yeah.
Watch him. He's going to touch himself. He's going to masturbate with his chest. And then he's going to attack me again. I think it's sexually motivated. Watch.
It's not going to make him happy. He embarrasses himself in that he makes admissions that pulverize his fake God, because his God is not real. He worships a fake God, and he's a tool of the devil. I know, Stafford, you're upset. It's okay. We love you, friend. Just make sure you don't bleed for us anymore as I stay bloated for you. Okay? Don't tell me, come on.
Sam, never mind.
Brother. Oh, here we go again. Here we go.
Anyway, there was a part, and I don't want to keep, I'll kind of look for it a little bit here. There was like, I should have wrote this specific part down. I thought I could find it faster. Where, and if I don't find it now, I'll play it tomorrow when we go through it. The where he's getting into the meat, as he says, right? We'll deal with your meat tomorrow, Sam. Your 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 shameful inches, right? You're supposed to cover up your shameful inches, Sam. We've talked about that. And the master said that. The master said you're supposed to hide your shameful nakedness. And you have been documented as bursting out of the bathroom naked with a grown man and leaping over the bed with your inches out. Explain that, right? I mean, when there's so much going on here. Anyway, yeah, no, he said a lot of bad, that were worse. He called me, we didn't even get to the part I was looking for about, he called me a Baal worshiper who cuts himself, and he's bald. And he uses Lord, right? That's what Baal means, Baal. So he literally replaces the name of the God of the Bible, the name of Isaiah's God, the name of John's God, the name of Jesus God, the one God, the Father God. Sam, you replace that with Lord like a pervert. Even if you say Yahweh, you don't. That's not even correct, and you don't even care. And again, you are a Lord user. That's a Baal worshiper, and you're bald and fat, right? If anyone is out here being mistaken for a Baal worshiper, and you are, it's you, Sam. Now, we're not here to pass final judgment on Sam. We leave that to the master, of course. But again, in the Bible, and I've done videos on it, there are people who are really bad, right? They rise to the level of evil, even though, like, Satan's evil, but Jesus still had, respect and deal with him. In Zechariah, right? In Deuteronomy, right? In the New Testament. So that it's just because someone's evil doesn't mean you don't respect them. But Sam is gone. We all know this, right? He's a slanderer. He's a betrayer. He's a backstabber. He's Tuco, right? From the second clip I did, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, right? Sam will do everything. He's done everything. He will cross every line for his insecurity and fatness, right? The only way to deal with him is to punish him. You gotta constantly be telling him he's fat. I know some of you are like, I don't know why, because, okay, that's why you're not winning. That's why you're not getting, you don't understand. Okay, if you're not willing to do that, fine. Then stay away. Okay, we know how to deal with Sam, and he's a pig. He calls me out directly. He insults our religion. That's the whole reason I went on his show that time. Before I appeared, that very video, he was going insane about me and my religion and calling me all kinds of names. And then I started commenting, and then he says, come on up. I said, I was so fired. I'm sitting here trying this fatso, right? He's never asked me about what we do. He doesn't read what we say we believe because he got it all wrong, right? So what is this? Well, it's insane is what it is. And if we're going to be forced to deal with it like we are at times, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not here to go soft on a wolf. We're not told to do that. Yeah, we got to make sure it's a wolf. I agree with you there. But what do the Ephesian Christians do in Revelation 2? They put people to the test and rejected them and were approved. We have all kinds of people like Paul going right up to even apostles, like he said himself, you go beyond this, gone, right? You're cursed, out of here. No, they're so far beyond what we read in the teachings of the apostles, even what they accept as them, right? They keep saying, well, we have a tradition, we have these texts, you're not disputing them. Why aren't you consistent with them then? That's the problem we're all having. You guys keep telling us you have this authority for these traditions and these councils and these creeds and this paganism. Well, why doesn't it agree with the people we all agree have that authority? Why is it so different? You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the Jews of Jesus' day, the scribes, the Pharisees, the religious leaders, who like the very same things you guys do. The fancy clothes, the fancy titles and education, to be looked to as the ones who establish the law and who go beyond it over and over again, like Jesus condemned them for doing. Yeah, it looks a lot like that, right? And if it's not that, well, who is it? Just Watchtower and Mormonism, two recent groups and other older fringe groups that started doing things differently than the New Testament, but somehow you can do that and they couldn't? I think the only real standard that's usable at this point is the accepted written records. Before then, and even since then, there have been people with an oral tradition, and it's not hard to remember. Guess what it is? One God the Father, the Messiah, sent forth Savior, Son of God. Golden rule. Those are the things Jesus said you get life if you do them. The New Testament attests to in fulfillment of the Old Testament. What exactly is it that's so hard to communicate about that? You know, as we're going to talk about on Sunday, everybody, this whole canon thing, how much do we really need to have, right? Quite honestly, I mean, could you read the whole book of Isaiah in one day? Right? Well, why carry the whole Bible around then? Right? I mean, unless you're going to do a topical subject search across the text, why is the Bible being treated differently than other books, right? We should be, when I do my translation, I'm going to do it individually for that reason, but then I'll combine it and make a simpler version, of course, for people. But it's so easy and convenient to carry. How many do we need? How many of the 4 gospel accounts do we need before we accept Jesus as the Messiah? Right? How do we even need any of the New Testament? I mean, we kind of do in terms of its attestation to Jesus as a real person and what he did. We have other sources too, secular, but mostly, New Testament. But the description and detail that fulfills the Old Testament, that's accepted scripture over a long period of time, right there, right? How much do you need to know beyond that this one came and was foretold and fulfilled all that and taught us this rule and to worship that God? And he's appointed in that God's name because he was faithful, did away with all the sacrifices they all practice. Now we believe in him. We make mistakes, we keep going. We don't give in. That's just what happens. We're humans, right? We're not perfect, but we're trying. That's about all we can do. The funny thing is that I find most Christians are the least forgiving. Have you found that too? I bet you have. I think there's a reason. We tend to be more aware, right? And we're more sensitive probably. But quite honestly, shouldn't that sensitivity translate to understanding that, hey, we've got problems. Yeah, we're not all as gone as Sam, right? But we've all got problems. So the predominant feature of everything we're doing should involve this understanding of, hey, we got to learn to kind of accept each other without tolerating direct sin that we can't resolve, a la Matthew 18, right? We've got to change the standard or we're not going to get in, right? No one's going to get in. We all keep looking for this special combination of things that aren't there. And if they are there, it's probably a lie because no one is that way. Not in this life. But people who are lying to you will act that way, and look what happens. Look at what just being nice to people and pretending to care about them does. It's the biggest white-collar crime of all time, right? You don't have to fight. You don't have to do anything. You just lie to people. Look at Sam. If those amount of people believe him, now you know why people believe Watchtower. I'd go with Watchtower before I'd go with Sam, wouldn't you? Of course, once I find out what either Watchtower or Sam does or do, I'm out. Just like I did. Just like I do. That's what we got to do. It doesn't mean we give up on people who are just being themselves in ways that aren't like everybody else, right? We have this regional, right? There are so many regional and cultural differences that kind of get blurred with this whole global communication system, especially now. I don't know. I think we do have to be more careful, though, because if we don't, we got to be more careful with who we trust, but we've got to also be more accommodating unless there's a problem. If you can't explain why something's happening, okay? So if someone is well, like going after, like we're doing, if someone's going after someone like Sam, there's a different expectation, or there should be a wait a minute. There's something different here. This is a pig-faced fatso and a blimp who's blaspheming God on a daily basis, attacking us, our kids, and our religion, and stalking people, right? Abusing women, raping and punching them, right? So this isn't your average everyday wacko. This is a professional nut job, and he's been doing this for decades. I've been dealing with him since, well, probably the late 80s. Him and others, people like Perry Robinson. A lot of you guys don't know some of these people, but Sam knows them, and I know them. And they're nuts, okay? They go way back, okay? So just know that unless you're in that kind of, if you don't know the things I'm talking about, there's more, you won't understand all of it. Just deal with it the best you can and know that we're dealing with a lot of hardcore kooks, okay? It's not what I prefer to do. I'm getting it out. This is this show for this, actually. Because I know if I don't do a show like this right now with all that this guy, all he does, you know how many times he attacks me, attacks our God, attacks. You know how many times I've tried to let this guy go and just move on from him? And the time I've spent exposing him so that it's clear for all time what a liar and a pig he is. So I think I have the right to determine those things because I'm invested in a way that is not usual. And I'm dealing with someone who's very unusual, right? Causing a lot of damage. He's not just causing it now. He's going to be causing damage for a long time if we don't do what we're doing. We don't put stuff out there to contradict him and to give people a check and say, wait a minute, that guy's fat, right? He's a blimp. And we just don't mean someone who has an eating problem. He is a professional fatso, right? The guy literally uses his daughters and his pathetic condition to take money from people to go to the buffet. Okay? He won't, this is a disgrace. It's an embarrassment in every way, and it always has been. And people still go back and lick his nuts, right? God Logic, Fearless Fag, Albie Al in the Fag Machine. These guys are all still. Albie Al, I guess, has some concerns, but again, what is it you guys don't understand here about this blimp? What, because he promotes your fake God, huh? You know, you guys and your loyalty to this paganism. It's incredible stuff, man. It's incredible stuff. What are you guys going to do when you find out Fatso here hasn't brought one person to the God of the Bible, the Messiah of the Bible, and he's done the very opposite his whole life? How's that going to feel? That's going to hit you pretty hard, right? That's got to be a concern for you Protestants. I got to say, we're going to wrap this up here in a few minutes because Sam is still fat. And I think we've gotten it out of our system now, right? I feel good. I'm ready. I'll upload the Ignatius video, and tomorrow it's going to just explode everything. Game over, everybody. And then we will annihilate Fat Sam again. Isaiah, John, Glory, gone. We're going to deal with his moped twin. We're going to go back to an older video that Fat Sam and Big William did when they were still moped twins, right? We're going to help them out. We're trying to bring them together, see if we can get them back on the moped, right? Collapse the shocks, right? Break the frame. But we're going to expose their lies and hypocrisy and show they just don't understand anything, do they? That's why they keep praying to people who aren't alive to them. That's why they can't condemn the statues, the icons, and the paganism. And that's why they essentially venerate and worship these saints and these councils and these creeds and this paganism in place of the God of the Bible, the Messiah of the Bible, and the golden rule of the Bible. And they don't even use God's name. Don't believe he has one. If he has one, they don't even say it right. They don't care. Game over. No Trinity. Pumped up, everybody. Let's see what's happening. Because Sam's still fat. So I don't even have to question that. Let's see how long we've been going here. Because I want to make sure we really cement his fatness, right? Fat farming, right? So we dealt with all the curses. He's cursed from head to toe, Sam, right? Hey, if I were you, Sam, I would just shut it down right at this point. See if you can maybe, I don't know, collapse, right? Just end it, right? I just said you only hope. Well, like Jesus said, you might want to get a boat and an anchor and just out of here, dude, right? That's the master said that, okay? And you've been stumbling people pretty much for what? Decades, right? And your own kids. Now we got to rescue the children of Sam, my grandchildren, by through representation of the not living to me but living to God parents of Sam. They're okay. Sam, it's you we're concerned about, okay? Stop worrying about dead people. Right? I pray to the Father through the Son, and they tell me everything I need to know. And no, your weight is not an issue. We all can see it, okay? Just stop it. What we need you to do, though, Sam, is to stop if you don't stop the blasphemy, right, the lies, right, the grotesque behavior, well, then you're going to get punished, my friend. Just so you know, you decided, didn't you, Sam? You started thinking, like you said, Staffy, you wanted to come. Right? Blubberbutt. Blubberbutt started thinking he got to consume with. He probably thought I was weak. Probably thought I was like gone. And I've been trying to just watch because all of them are gone. And I don't have to do anything. I've already done it. But I'll do it when I want to. And boom, right? Pick my moment. Smash Sam. He's gone. Now his whole world has been upended. He's fat. Right? There's more evidence of that. We're going to cement the truth against his fake God, his false God, right? We've made it clear also that it's a disgrace and humiliation not to read what you're responding to, which he does all the time, Proverbs 18:13. He's fat, right? And that's a disgrace to your parents, so that I'm directly involved right there. And I know him from a young fatso. But the thing is with Sam, he's the leader of the blubberbutts. Fatsos. He's blimped. Blimped. Fat so-hos. Fatso. The guy is gone. I mean, it's a pig bomb. Oh, man, he's all blimped out. The guy is huge. He's spherical, like I said, right? He's almost completely brown. Blubberbutt, right? Inches out, ladies, right? Like Sam, remember I told you before, the aerobics class? If he was with a group of trannies, because many of them have been clipped, and he's in reversion. So that would be a way of getting them like set for the class. All right, ladies, inches out. They get in good posture, but they don't, they're trannies. Either way, There was a joke I was going to tell a long time ago. I never did. That wasn't it. The tranny joke. Here's the joke I've never told that I wanted to tell. I'm going to tell you right now. It's about Sam. It's a good one. It's really fast. I'm not that good at jokes, but every now and then, Anyway, a pig, a blimp, and a fatso walk into a bar. But then everyone realizes it's just Sam, right? Fatso. So we have that, right? We know that Sam is fat. There's nothing we can do about it other than keep reminding him, because this works, everybody. You got to remember, it's psychological warfare for Sam. He's blimp, right? All these terms, they sink in over time with he can't handle it. He's barely hanging on as it is. The demons are giving him the final remaining life he's like he says, he's like a meat sack, but there's no meat there. It's fat, right? He's confusing fat with meat. They do it all the time. Anyway, he does have one arm. If you've noticed on Sam, he's basically fat, but he has one arm with like a muscle. And I think that's because of the whacking off, right? I know, but he does. He's talked about it publicly. So I'm not like doing anything unusual. This is him. He's the one who brings this up. He told George, right? He told people publicly. He said, hey, I can't, masturbate anymore. I can't. It doesn't work. This was him, okay? He said this. This isn't me like being mean, and I don't even do that anyway. Everything I say is true, especially this. Anyway, he said that it doesn't. Okay, if you don't know, I'll just real quickly. Sam assassinated his member, right? He literally murdered his penis. I'm not joking. Okay, this is what I'm getting to. So, and then we'll end it pretty much in a minute. Basically, he whacked off so many times. You guys crazy, dude. What he said, okay, this is from Sam. I'm telling you what he said. Basically. That it doesn't work anymore because he was so rough on it. It doesn't matter how much porn. He said this, that even if he watches porn, he was in one of his confessionals because he's Catholic. He was doing a public confession, and it was bothering him about all his lust. Because he has problems, right? It's not just the food, but the food's a big part of it, right? The food triggers his lust. He said this too. He says this all the time. He says, when he eats, it makes him feel sexual. And so that's when he goes into whack-off mode, right? He starts masturbating, and he does it so violently, right? That's what he said. He said it doesn't work anymore. He literally strangled his penis to death. Now, we were watching him one time, a couple years ago in one of the lives, and we stopped it on a frame where we could see this vein, but it didn't look like you could see I have a vein right here because I work out and I'm not fat. But the vein Sam had on his head, on the side of his head, it actually looked exactly like a worm, right? It had the squiggly tail and it had a little bit larger head to it. It was like, what in the heck is going on? We thought for a minute that we actually caught an organism that was causing all the brain damage, And so we were like looking at it. We're looking at it like, is that his penis? Right? Did he destroy his member to the point where it went inside? Broke off? And it's actually like trying to punish his brain? right? This is the stuff, this is why I had to do this video. I knew we needed a whole video to get this out. Get it out now, right? Trust me, tomorrow in the Ignatius video I upload, none of this. In the video we're going to do, responding to the moped twins on Isaiah and John and the Trinity, live tomorrow, there might be a little, but there won't really be a lot because we're getting it all out now. Oh, I won't have to say it again. Just whatever comes to me in that moment as we watch how fat they are, right? A little bit. And Sunday, probably not. Right? His subjects don't really directly involve Sam. Maybe a little bit again tomorrow on the Isaiah Trinity show. But this is really the one where I wanted to let it out. Just Sam called me out. He's been a pig-faced fatso and a blimp. He slanders and condemns me. He persecutes and lies about me. He defames my God. He masturbates and blasphemies all day, every day. And he lies to people, even the people on his side, right? Because I think he's so insecure that he doesn't want them to be better than him. So he sets them up and lies. Right? It's all complicated thing with Sam. It's not normal. But I have to deal with it because I'm the one unfortunate enough to know him for what? Almost, so the late 80s, like 30 years, right? No, 40, almost 40 years, right? So my late teens, early 20s, late teens, I was like mid to late teens when I really started. Before I graduated high school, I was dealing with Sam. He was dealing with other people I knew. I was dealing with Perry and other people. These guys are gone, okay? All right? So just understand, this is a different type of situation. I don't do this with other people. I might have a little fun with them or say things. I don't have like this big, long history and exposure with the biggest, fattest, pig-faced person on the planet. Unfortunately, I do though. I don't have that with everybody, just with him, right? So yes, it's different. It's going to be a little bit more involved, but I'm equipped. Trust me. I can deal with this fatso, no problem. The only problems I have are just countering all his lies, making sure you guys aren't as affected as you should be because he keeps lying, right? Even now, after this video, after whatever videos, he's going to keep, he doesn't have a choice, I guess, unless he, who knows? But if he doesn't repent, he has to keep going, right? This is all he's got. They're locked in. That's the problem. Same with like God, Logic, and others, right? The deeper they go, the more committed financially and otherwise, relationally, these guys get. It's just like with Watchtower. The harder it is to be to do what you're supposed to be alone, to suffer the way you're supposed to. Not for this paganism, right? Not for this fatso. All these lies. Well, in any case, before we end, we do try to get along with people. Sam is a rare exception, okay? He's hated by almost everybody. Those who don't hate him yet will. And by hate him, I don't mean, I'm talking like the way we and Michael and Jesus and everyone has to deal with Satan. We hate what's evil, but we respect the fact that he's here. I guess, right? I think he should be in prison, and that's where both of them are going in the end. But while we have to deal with them, let's do everything we can to try to make people aware of the fact that we've responded. I have a new playlist I'm going to be putting up that'll make it easier to find all these videos. So you can just say, hey, everyone, we've dealt with this fatso. You can tell your kids, no, that guy's a blimp, a pig, and a fatso. Hey, thank you, single cell organism. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. I don't do this for money either, but I do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I know it means a lot. Sam and these others, though, that's all. They'll sad story you. He'll talk about his daughters, the ones he abuses and doesn't care about. He pretends like he does so he can get your money and he can keep being fat. We don't do that here. I work, I take care of myself, but I appreciate everything you do. I try to give you guys back what I can. I'm going to be regular here for the next several months. I do have more. I'm very involved in graduate school, so I'm doing a lot of things, language related. Going to pay off big time for us in the future. You'll see. and now. So let's get back in the swing of things. We got Fat Sam out of our system, hopefully. And he's being punished for doing what he did and calling me out the way he did and lying the way he did and does, right? We're sick of it. We know he's going to keep doing it. Whatever. Then we're going to keep punishing you, fatso. We're going to keep making people aware, yeah, he's bloated. So, yeah, I've dealt with the people at Hank Hanegraaff's Institute. George is asking, have I ever encountered Hank Hanegraaff? I dealt with people who worked with him, and I mentioned a few already. He was pretty regular. Of course, he replaced Walter Martin. He made a mistake there, though. I think that, well, he did what he wanted. I think Rob Bowman should have been the Bible answer man after Walter Martin. Rob Bowman was there as well at the Christian Research Institute. All these people, right? But Bowman was better than Hank Hanegraaff. Hank was a good in some like sales way, I guess. But Bowman would have been a better. I don't know. I guess I don't really know. They did kind of flourish under Hank Hanegraaff, but he's not as good. He's just not as he's not as smart as Bowman and people like that. So, or Martin, quite honestly. Either way, they are who they are, and they did what they did, and that's their little deal. But I'm familiar with a lot of people, and I go all that way back. So, yeah, no, I've been there, done that. Either way, we'll keep dealing with Fat Sam as much as we have to, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad to be back. I hope it was worth it. I hope I've given you some things to laugh about, think about. And, we're not always here to agree on every level, but I'm here to praise Jah, follow Jesus, follow the golden rule. I try to be as good as I can, but I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not, especially when I'm dealing with wolves. I'm going to come right at them. Because there's really no soft way to deal with people like Sam. We can have a little fun, but at the end of the day, you yield too much, right? If you give in to someone like that, he's going to get you. What Jesus say, they'll turn around and rip you open, right? So when you're engaging pigs like this, you don't just casually throw your pearls in front of them. No, you got to know, okay, I'm going to throw them in front of them. I'm going to wait for that pig to get, and then I'm going to kill that pig. Okay? Otherwise, follow the master. Keep your pearls to yourself. We'll take care of these pigs and fatsos. I'll try to do it in the best way I can. I make no promises, though, when I'm dealing with Sam. He's a blasphemer. He's a rat, fat bastard, like Apostate Prophet says. Sorry, my voice, I've been talking a long time. I haven't been doing it a while. These guys are all funny, kind of. Either way, I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a video coming too. On Ignatius, you're really going to like. Tomorrow morning, I'll give you time between when I upload that video and then in the evening when we do our live stream, Destroy Sam and William on Trinity, Isaiah, all of it. And then Sunday, man, we got a lot of good stuff. Canon, Bible, 3, time, energy, and powers. Don't miss these, or if you do, watch them when you can. I'll try to give you as much as I can while I can. Pump you up, keep you going. Don't look for a lot of people. Don't befriend people you don't know closer than people you do know or who you're with and can verify. We need some testing here, everybody. We have too many liars. It's not just Sam either. It's Watchtower people, it's Mormons, it's others, it's anybody. The orthopagans, Protestants. They care more about people who believe and join us because they're losing people and that's money to them. We don't care about the money. We care about you. So I'm going to keep doing this no matter what they say or do. You're the one who has to make the most of it and decide what's in your best interest in your family. Don't think too big. You can't affect everything, everywhere, all the time. Do what Jesus said and affect the thing closest to you, your neighbor, what's next to you. Start there, move from beyond there. If you find 1 or 2 more, he's right there. And exactly what else do you need, by the way? Nothing. Just this feeling of having more people at a certain point in time when that's not always going to be the case. That's why the master said, so few at a time. I don't think that was an accident. Yeah, the more the better. Great. There have been times like that. Most of the time, it's not like that. And the more people you have, the less it's going to be like that. Because you got to be careful. You got to really know those people. Make sure you're actually seeing some fruit that shows they're not just complaining and trying to get you to doubt, that they're actually reinforcing your belief. To me, that's one of the biggest signs. Questions are good every now and then. Questions all the time? I don't know how much believing you can do while you're asking questions. So what do you believe that you're not asking a question about? Focus on that, okay? You can always ask a question. There's always something new to find out. But it's like asking a Phat, right? Exactly what are you going to find out that you don't already know? That being the case, until tomorrow, may Jah bless you. In Jesus' name. Oh, we'll take care of them. Don't you worry, George. In Jesus' name.